Bag. I want the bag. Work my way from a garden to a track. Flip it from a track to a plot full of acres. Do it for the farmers and producers and the makers. What we even here for? Occasionally I ask it. I know it's more than struggling, anticipating the casket. Reap what we sow, trying to fill up my basket. Life's a plantation, I self-law and master. Over the plot I've been granted on this planet. Now it's slanted, cause the chosen been supplanted. But if you overstand it, it was spoken. Fractured, but we ain't broken. Even though some would rather play the role of token, we growing. Black through the essence of our presence. We carry the blood of gods, we carry the mind of peasants. Rich black gardens, future look more like Eden. Multiply seeds like the seed banks in Sweden. Rep my planners on plan according to season. B1 code, switching it up is treason. Black power, family what we eat. Either we get fed or we feed. B1AG.
What is growing on? What is growing on? What is growing on? Welcome back to B1AG. I'm John Henry Harris, and we also have Farmer Brown, the MC. Here at B1AG, we focus on Black agriculture as it pertains to agricultural production, marketing, management, health, food, nutrition, economics, all for the Black family and for the Black community. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about Thanksgiving. Now, Thanksgiving is a holiday that, a lot of people celebrate here in the United States and Canada. And it's supposed to be a day of giving thanks and sacrifice for the blessing of the harvest of the preceding year. And this year's Thanksgiving holiday is actually challenged because there may be a shortage of turkeys. And that's what we're going to take a look at today. The name of today's story is No Turkeys for Thanksgiving. Farmer Brown, what say you about these turkeys that may not be here for Thanksgiving?
First, I'd just like to say peace to the B1 family. Hope everybody's doing well, staying alert. Very pivotal day today. A lot of things going on. We think about what's going on with New York. A lot of the healthcare workers have decided to go the other way as far as their employment due to the mandates. A lot of these shortages being brought to the forefront. So what we're going to discuss today is just, this is breaking news. A lot of when we think about poultry, whether it's your chickens or your turkeys, just like any other agricultural operation, these operate on timelines. You have your hatcheries. You got to have those eggs at a certain time to be able to, good morning, sister. You got to have those eggs at a certain time to be able to hatch your turkeys or your chickens, to have them prepared to be shipped off to be processed and then, available at the store. And so because of the events of last year and this year, that process has been disrupted. And so we have some other, topics to deal with this, but I think this is definitely a serious topic to discuss today. And I look forward to deep diving.
Now, according to with meat suppliers and distributors are warning that there could be a shortage of smaller turkeys in supermarkets due to labor and production challenge caused by the pandemic. Frozen turkeys are the bulk of what is sold at Thanksgiving and are produced all year long. Challenges like labor and transportation have persisted throughout the pandemic, have made it difficult to maintain a normal production flow. The result, smaller frozen turkeys could be harder to find in stores this November, says the Butterball spokesperson, Krista Lupin, and she told this to Today Food in an email. The industry continues to struggle with production issues. Now, the larger turkeys, 25 pounds and over, 20 pounds and over, they still should be there because, again, the bulk of turkey sales are frozen. And so these frozen turkeys that I guess have been left over, or not in necessarily high demand, are still going to be available. But the smaller turkeys, which have become more popular because, Thanksgiving settings have become smaller and more intimate due to the pandemic. So the smaller turkeys have become more popular because, there are less people gathering together. And those are definitely going to be in short supply.
So last year, 40 million turkeys were consumed on Thanksgiving Day, with 85% of Americans partaking in the meal. An estimated 276 million Americans dying on the festive poultry, spending an expected 1.05 billion on turkeys on Thanksgiving. That's a lot of people. Here at B1AG, we like to really focus our conversation around the melanated community, especially when it comes to our food security. You have to factor in all of these other things going on right now. Some of the literal, but then there's also metaphysical and spiritual things going on as well. Personally, and I only speak for myself, I don't think it's any coincidence, because when you really deep dive into the history of this holiday, I'm definitely a proponent of being around your family. Any opportunity, you got some days off of work to just be around the people you care about, chop it up. This is always a great thing. To me, every day that you wake up and breathe is a holiday. When we think about this Thanksgiving, like you said this is the day to give thanks. Give thanks every moment that you're here, right? But this, to me, is celebrating the genocide of our Aboriginal ancestors on Turtle Island. And so the 400-year time frame has been up for a while now. And so when we think about all of these little chinks and kinks going on within food supply, a lot of traditions that many of us, not all, but many of us still hold on to, I think is definitely worth looking at with the microscope. What are all the other details of all this going on? There are definitely logistical issues to why these birds aren't going to be available, but this is definitely a hit on the economy. Not only the financial economy, but what does this do to the concept of traditions that we're passing down to our kids? There is this mindset. Many people want to hold on to the way things used to be. In my mind, I'm like, some of them are some of the most dangerous people to want to hold on to things the way things used to be, because you never get a moment over again. This minute that just passed, I'll never get that again. And this happens the same way when we think about a lot of these long-running traditions. The title is No Turkeys for Thanksgiving, but we also know when we think about Christmas, however we feel about that, these are a lot of holidays where turkeys are consumed on a large scale. When we think about production, when we think about some of our eating habits, when we think about certain cultures, there's definitely some conversations we need to have as a melanated family and community to revisit the way we celebrate.
I think that's a very good point, Farmer Brown, especially with Thanksgiving, Christmas. People are losing their jobs. People are losing their homes. People are deciding to walk away from their jobs. There are a lot of changes going on in this world, and this is without a doubt going to affect the way we celebrate these holidays. For those that celebrate them. It's just hard for me to see how they're going to sustain this idea of the Christmas tree and all the presents under the Christmas tree and Santa Claus and all this when, like you say, people are literally having to walk away from their jobs. The materialism that has been abound in these holidays are definitely under attack as well.
So we think about this Thanksgiving dinner. Like I said, I ain't gonna be a hypocrite. Even upon waking up, okay, I got a couple of days off the plantation. I can be around my family. I can be around my loved ones. And there happens to be all of these pies, all of these extra meals. And so we're dealing with some real food shortages. And so flour, we think about the biscuits, not butter biscuits, but just the biscuits that grandma, auntie made. rice, noodles and pasta varieties, white and whole wheat, vegetables. So we're talking about your cranberry sauce, freeze-dried, canned, and dehydrated. Fruit, freeze-dried, canned, and dehydrated, and oats. All of these are at a shortage right now in what we call North America. This does obviously affect other places around the planet, but when we're specifically talking about here, there's a lot of other shortages going on. If you were paying attention to the news over the last weekend, the whole thing with the toilet tissue and the paper towel and paper products, people are starting to get back into panic buying mode. I've seen different, news stories talking about some of the toys when we're thinking about Christmas holiday that people still celebrate. Some of these toys aren't going to be available because a lot of these plastic products come from overseas, come from China, come from Asia. Well, if you got these shipping containers that's sitting on the coast, on these ports that don't have enough people to check through them, don't have enough people to process them, there's going to be a lot of shortages. And the thing about when these things happen, it can be overwhelming if in your mind you want to still hold on to the way things used to be. I guess the conversation we're having today is, how can we recreate what we expect versus expecting what has already been? That's a hard thing to make the mind work around, but I guess, in my modest opinion, these things don't overwhelm you as much if you can factor into your mind, okay, this is in flux. Nothing is set. And so that's the beauty. That's the opportunity we have as a melanated community to really codify and reevaluate what's important. Why is this important? When do I celebrate? Do I just, pick one day out of a 365-day year? Or am I going to be thankful every day that I wake up? And to give my thanks, I'm going to figure out the best way to produce the best outcomes for everybody. So you have more people that can be thankful. This is a deep conversation, family.
For a lot of people, that turkey is just such is a big symbol. It's a big expectation. It's just like you said, normal, the norm. Thanksgiving, I gotta get a turkey. But we definitely need to reevaluate what is normal, what we see as normal, and what we do as normal moving forward. Because things just may not be there. They just may not be available. And that's what we've been seeing through this pandemic, through whether it's supply chain disruptions, shortages, production shortages. Things are just not there the way they have been. And this may become the new norm.
Have you ever heard of seasonal affective disorder?
Yes.
So seasonal affective or seasonal anxiety disorder is a type of depression that's related to changes in seasons. SAD begins and ends about the same time every year. So if you're most people, your symptoms start in the fall and continue into the winter months, sapping your energy and make you feel moody, and less often causes depression. When we think of, a lot of people ain't gonna be getting that sleep, right? The leftovers. When we think about the season we're going into, I keep hearing this word, dark winter, right? And I hope the family's not taking this as fear mongering, because we're not coming from a space of fear mongering. We're trying to come at this from an introspective space. When we think about a lot of the gene therapies and medicinal talk going on right now, when we talk about science, when we talk about, hey, we really need to get involved in the science behind how things work, really pick things apart and understand them and how they apply to our community. Some people understand timelines to put certain things in motion. If you were going to mandate something, why didn't you do it when it was warm? When people had a chance to go out and find other options? Why would you wait till it got cold? When you understand media, media operates on timelines too. I'm going to bring something to your attention for there to be an action. And many times we assume that, when things are brought to our attention, it's supposed to be a positive outcome. It's supposed to be this tasty, just wonderful utopian outcome. But when we're talking about power grabs, when we're talking about paradigm shifting, there's a lot of science that's gone into the timing that we're seeing a lot of these things take place. And we're not getting conspiratorial, we're being very practical. What do we understand about Thanksgiving? We're going to eat excessively, normally. We're going to eat excessive. We're going to eat a lot of sweets that we normally wouldn't. We're going to eat a lot of extra food that's going to put a extra strain on our bodies processing, our digestive system processing these foods. What happens right before Thanksgiving is October. You know, some people still celebrate Halloween, lots of candies. And so we see, I know here in Kentucky, a lot of these schools, a lot of these children are popping up sick. And there are a lot of theories around why suddenly there's so many more people getting sick this year than last year. And I think the family can kind of read between the lines in the relation with the ABJ. But saying that to say, our bodies are going to take on extra strain by continuing some of these traditions. And then you go from Halloween to Thanksgiving to Christmas, then New Year's. And so we take on a lot of extra sweets, a lot of extra carbs, a lot of extra things that create these pre-existing conditions that some believe are being amplified by certain modifications, if the family understands what I'm saying. So saying that to say, what does this look like in spring 2022? I've been stressed out all winter because everything I've been used to my whole life is now not happening anymore. On top of people I care about getting sick, on top of, okay, jobs that we were used to having are no longer there. I was able to go to this building called a store, and there was something that I could purchase just going into my pocket. And so we have a lot of changes matched with this SAD, this seasonal anxiety disorder. What I'm here, you know, personally, to the B1 family, I would like to stress this is our greatest opportunity, and we keep getting reminded of why we need to get black to the garden, why we need to get black to this growth state of mind. Growing mean, okay, in the spring, we know you plant in the spring because things died over the fall and the winter. I'm hoping that some of our old traditions that haven't really worked well for the melanated community and melanated family, I'm hoping those plants die off and we can go into this next year, because a good garden, you know, you're planting that in the fall and the winter before you even put anything in the ground in the spring. And so I'm hoping we can take this time to have these conversations if we are able to link up with family. If we are able to, you know, be around like-minded individuals, really think about, okay, I didn't like what just happened in fall and winter 2021. So what are we going to do as a unit that just, you know, we want to win? You know, we want to go into perpetuity. What are we doing? What are we talking about? What constructive, productive conversations are we having around something as simple as food? We obviously have our opinions about holidays, holy days. The elder Nellie Fuller says we ain't got no business celebrating nothing right now. You know, the fact I suffer from being an empath. And so the fact I understand, like, man, there's a lot of stress going on with the family. It's hard to be in a celebratory mood. But at the same time, you know, the entrepreneur in me, the opportunist in me, the optimist in me understands that we've never, as Claude Anderson says, you got to feel, unfortunately, we're going to have to feel the pain before we make some changes. And so the pain is here, and then there's more pain to come. But the thing is, you know, we can lessen this impact on our families, lessen this impact on the individuals by having a plan moving forward. And you can't go wrong planning on ways to create a sustainable, healthy food system, specifically for those in the melanated community.
I think as we look at the state of the world and, you know, try to curb our expectations, it's very important that we kind of set the expectations for our young ones as well, because, you know, they don't understand the complexities of what's going on in the world. We barely understand the complexities of what's going on in the world, you know. So, you know, they're definitely living in their own world. But the way, despite the turkey shortages and the food shortages, these holidays are still going to be marketed to the kids the same. So we really need to make sure that, you know, the kids, our children, our nephews and nieces and little cousins, you know, make sure that we can set things right for them, so they don't have these grand expectations, and that seasonal, disorder does not affect them even harder than it may.
Sustainability, the ability to be maintained at a certain rate or level. When you're going into agriculture, specifically production, sustainability is one of the buzzwords. You don't want to get into an operation that you don't even either have the manpower, the capital, or the resources or materials to do it. And so you want to be sustainable. When we think about our embracing of these traditions, you think about these kids. I already see a lot of parents that I'm around that are stressed out because, okay, they might have come across an article that said, hey, you might want to go on and get your toys now if you're wanting to get your toys for Christmas. You might want to go on and stock up on your turkey now. You might want to go on and get your candy now for Halloween. You might want to go on and get your Halloween outfits. We're not here to try to tell or influence anybody to, what to prioritize within your household. But when we think about the sustainability of some of these concepts and traditions that we're holding on to, we have to look at how is this affecting our community. We know that 70% of the melanated community chooses not to, do the gene therapy. That we're not saying it's good, we're not saying it's bad, but we know this is 70% of, upwards of 45, 50 million individuals that have decided to, this is what we're going to do within our household. We also know we're in a system at this moment in time that the majority of us are dependent upon that says, well, if you don't take this way of mitigating this issue, you're going to lose employment. And so when we think about sustainability, to get toys, it's going to cost you some capital. There's those boosters, but we're also in this police state. We're in this prison world where it's like, it's all these ops looking for reasons to catch you up. And once again, I just want to keep prefacing, we're not being negative. We're just really trying to break this down. We're not in a space where we need to add extra stresses on ourselves. Well, my kids hate me if they don't get a Christmas present. In my family, my mom, she intentionally, I think since I was 16, what was that, 96, we don't celebrate Christmas. We give gifts, we call each other, we congregate with one another. But sometimes you have to intentionally break a habit for it not to overwhelm you. Every household is different. Christmas, and I will say, kind of, playing devil's advocate, Christmas trees are a big bag for whoever is raising these pine trees, for people that still want to embrace that. That's kind of a side note. But saying that to say, when we're thinking about toys, okay, is it the best thing for me as a parent to break my back, pay exorbitant extra costs for toys for my kids? My kids still play with cardboard boxes. I'll go get them all these little Paw Patrol toys and all of this. And I'll be like, hey, Caroline, over here in the corner is the toys. And they go to the boxes. They go to the things it seems like you don't want them to touch. Saying that to say as a parent, and then sometimes they just want to play with dad, right? And so we have to really evaluate what is important, not just as the individual, not just as a family, but as a community. Can we be codified around what's important? Here at B1AG, our conversation is food security. Because when you have a sustainable source of food, then you can think these things out. It gets you to the next day, it gets you to the next week. This is an opportunity to talk about fasting. Whether you're fasting for religious purposes, there are healthy reasons why people fast. When we're thinking about sustainability, okay, if I'm working with strained resources, I'm seeing that there's shortages. Fasting, maybe, I would love to eat 3 meals a day. Maybe I break that down to 2 so I can stretch these meals out over a longer period of time. This is an opportunity to think about canning, family. Right now, we're still in harvest season. So some of these things we don't have to eat in excess of. Maybe we'll just store some for later. In the Bible, it says study the ant. And what the ant isn't doing is thinking about all of these different things it's going to expend its energy on that it doesn't need to. The ant knows that the winter is coming, so it's going to work hard through the summer, work hard through. Right. Right. And so the ant knows I'm going to work hard to store for the cold season, because we know the cold season is coming. All of these extra things, I'm not worried about, because I want to make sure my ant colony is here for next year, year after next, and year after next. Absolutely. And we know our organs is getting a beating right now. I've been seeing these chemtrails all over. So the family, we have a great opportunity to really not only, point out all of these crazy things going on around us, but really, what does this also say in the Bible? Not to get on my spiritual tip, all eyes will see. And I used to wonder, how will all eyes see? If I'm on this side of the planet, how is somebody on the other side going to see? We have this thing called the internet, right? The Most High works in mysterious ways. So mysteriously, what could be a gift what could be a curse could also be your gift. I give you this rope, you can hang yourself or climb up. We have been given an opportunity, family, to do something about everything that's been plaguing us. Nothing is going to come from nowhere and fix our problems. What I can do is bring to your attention that, hey, there's this thing that comes. It's called, as humans, we understand it as the slaughterhouse. We understand it as the trailer that comes, takes the livestock in. Y'all follow these Judas goats into this little trailer, and off you go. And then the rest of the herd don't see you again. I gave you eyes. I gave you senses. I gave you little hooves to run about. The average fence I've ever seen, most of the animals that are trapped in fences, if they decide to run through those fences, butt them with their heads, they can get through them. But you're going to stay in that fence just a little longer because you think that farmer's going to keep bringing you that feed. And so we gamble with our lives. Maybe I'm going to get this feed again. You don't realize this farmer's feeding you so I can fatten you. What do they say? The fattest cow, the fattest one goes first. This is a time to not only fast physically, but psychologically. What are some things we can go without during this time where there are no turkeys for Thanksgiving?
Well said. And I hope this message was well received by the family. If you have any questions or comments or have any information for us, please send it to us at b1aghiphop@gmail.com. Like, share. Let's move the algorithm, make this a larger conversation. We need more of our people talking about what is going on with our food, what is growing on with our food system. Getting more people in the growth mindset of growing their own food. Even if they're not growing their own food, just having the working knowledge of how to grow your own food. This is very, very, very important. Extremely important. Farm Brown, it's another great conversation, bro. The idea for some about no turkeys for Thanksgiving, that's just like, it can be traumatic for some, but, hey, just giving you a heads up. There are a lot of real challenges with the food supply system, the supply chain. There's just a lot of challenges, and they are affecting items that are available. So we're just giving the family a heads up, so we can start coming up with solutions now. Better to stay ready, be ready, and stay ready than have to get ready.
I tell you what, if you are somebody that did want these turkeys, this is just another reason why to know some of your local farmers. When we talk about localizing this food system, okay, maybe I don't need to depend on Butterball or Tyson because I've made a relationship with 4 or 5 of these melanated poultry farmers. I went on and paid them some money up front in May, in the spring, to make sure I'm going to have these birds later. And in turn, this farmer is able to take this money you paid him up front and get the feed. If he needs to redo the structures, get some more coops for the chickens. And so, when you're investing in a farmer, it's not this charitable peace system off. How you doing? When you're investing in these black farmers, it isn't just, I'm going to be charitable. Like, no, you're investing in business. You're investing in somebody who has a skill to produce something that you need, that you desire. Understand CSAs, community supported agriculture, paid up front. So get a subscription program going. You can buy these in groups. Maybe you're a cooperative. That would, obviously the more money you have to purchase, the more that the farmer has to work with. And so since we see in 2021 that this can become a thing where something as simple as a turkey isn't as readily available. This is all the incentive in the world in this fall and winter of 2021 to make sure, hey, y'all, come 2022 spring, I'm going to find at least 5 different black farmers that I know produce these things that weren't accessible in the fall and winter of 2021. I'm going to think ahead. And because I value this, I'm going to make sure I pay them up front. I'm not going to ask for a discount because I know these farmers aren't getting the same subsidies and help as Tyson and the other farmers that supply Tyson. So we're going to make sure we intentionally, specifically make it rain on these melanated farmers. And they're available. There's groups online. You got your Black-owned farms. This is on Facebook. You got your Black Farmers Nationwide, Black Outdoorsmen. I don't have the list in front of me, but family, the farmers exist. And it comes to a thing of just being intentional and looking for them. Reach out to your local cooperative extension office. Hey, do y'all, I think the technical word is minority farmers. Let's say black farmers. Keep it real. We want to know if there's any farmers in this area that are producing poultry. We have a buyers club. We want to support some of these farmers. When you seek, you shall find. On soy, I'll give a very honest answer. So soy, when you're thinking about a broader, food system, it's necessary. Soy is a good filler. When we're thinking about vegan or vegetarian meals, it's a good filler. But the way some of the soy is produced in North America, when you're including some of the herbicides and pesticides, there have been research-based studies that show that soy affects hormones.
Yes.
Some atrazine. I encourage the family to look up atrazine. I'm glad you brought that question up. Atrazine has been known to change the sex in frogs. Atrazine is a herbicide. Hey, because I know there's a large base of people that want soy-based products. And, I can't afford to just have 100 people out walking in this 1,000-acre field. I'm going to use these herbicides, because I can't just afford to have people going around spraying. I will use all this spray up. And so this is, once again, why it's very important to start localizing our food system. But to answer your question, soy isn't bad. It's of the Most High, so it's not bad. But it comes down to how are these plants grown? What are the other chemicals input into these plants to make them grow to supply a large demand? And so that's one of the reasons why we really stress, if you understand on a personal level what goes into growing a plant, then you'll know better what to expect when you go to a store or when you order these plants. But say that to say, like I said, soy is very interesting. It does have hormonal effects, and it can. I would say as far as like dairy products, for example, or alternative to dairy products, almonds are great. Certain nut-based products. Soy is good, and I can only just give my absolutely. And many scientists have come out and said it, but I can just only give my opinion. I only speak for myself. I try to stay away from soy as much as possible. Like I said, when it comes to a burger here and there, anything in moderation is cool. But to have a large diet based on soy, it will indelibly have hormonal effects.
And I think moderation is the key word. I mean, if you drink too much water at one time, you'll drown, right?
Right.
So it's like moderation is always the key, but I definitely wouldn't overload my intake in soy, which is easy to do when you look at today's highly processed foods, who does use soy as a filler. So, boy, I tell you, that was a bonus. That was a bonus info right there. Bonus knowledge. I like the bonus knowledge. That's icing on the cake right there. Thank you for the question, brother. But at the end of the day, Farmer Brown, we talk about being in this growth mind state. If you really, really want to know something, what do the people need to do?
As above, so below. This is how we glow. If you really want to learn something, learn how to grow. If you really want to know something, learn how to grow something.
There it is. We'd like to thank y'all for tuning in. It's the beginning of the work week, y'all. Let's go ahead and let's stride through this week in power. Let's keep growing. And hey, just manifest nothing but greatness, goodness, and love. I'm John Henry Harris, Farmer Brown MC. Until next time, peace out.